This is your host with the host. Damn, this shirt maybe. I mean, I know this is extra large shirt, but this shirt is way too large. How you guys doing, Facebook? Psych. YouTube, what's up? This is your host with the most, King Geo. If you see me get off the screen, it's because I am at work. How's everyone doing? Come on on, let some other people come on. But today I want to talk about something that's very interesting to all of us. And for those who are watching abroad, and it's called Your Rights. Um, People back maybe like a year ago, they were in the bandwagon when the ex-president was saying, "Oh, your rights of having your guns are being taken away. Your Second Amendment rights have been taken away, are going to be taken away." And that was a year ago. And here we are with the new year. Has your rights been taken away? No, it hasn't, right? But as time passes by, your rights are taken away. You go to the state of Texas. Texas just passed a law the other day that takes away the rights of a woman of having an abortion. All right. So here you have all these Republicans saying that they don't want to mask up because that's taking away their rights. That's infringing on their rights. But yet they have a state like Texas and other states, but the state like Texas is telling you, as a woman, that you cannot, that as a, sorry about that, that as a woman, you cannot have an abortion in that state. Because they're going around the theory of religion, and whenever you put religion in politics, that's a bad game to play. To be honest with you, Jesus does not care. God does not care who's in political power. Jesus don't care who's the president of the United States is, because in the Bible, Jesus says he is not from this world. Don't get comfortable in this world because you're not from this world also. So to go up and say, "Oh, the Bible said this," or "the Bible said that," or "God said this," that's not that's something that we shouldn't put in politics, because God does not care about that. God cares about you. God cares about that you preach the word of God, the gospel of God, that you do things God's way, walk in the way like Jesus walked, very humble way, helping others. That's what Jesus. I got diabetes. That's what Jesus wants you to do. Jesus doesn't want you to stay in the line. Oh yes, politics. Oh yes, this or you. No, no. When you're putting this person up here more than you're putting God, that's no good. That's what politics does. So here you got the state of Texas telling a woman not what to do with her body. In the Bible it says, "Do not kill. Thou shalt not kill." It doesn't say anything. It doesn't say anything about abortion. It doesn't. We don't know. If you say "thou shalt not kill," then you're taking away another sentence that it says in the Bible, don't do sexual immoralities, whatever sexual immorality means, you know, because a lot of people say you have to be married to have sex with a person, and it never says that anyway. It says don't commit sexual immoralities, so whatever that means, but it never says you should be married to a person in order for you to have sex. It doesn't say that. But a lot of religions do put that in. A lot of religion have you think that that's what the Bible says, and if you don't read the Bible, you will know. Um, and I'm getting to this fact because a lot of people are putting religion in a lot of things, and God didn't come to this world for religion. God is not a religion. But anyways, so Texas passed this law saying that women cannot have an abortion after, I think it was 8 days, whatever the case may be. I haven't looked into it because I don't want to play into that game. But they're infringing a woman's right. You know, I'm I'm pro-life, but I'm also pro-choice, because if a woman has an encounter with a rapist, she could have an abortion. If a woman, people do make mistakes, condom breaks, stuff like that. And if you don't want to have, if you don't want to have that baby, then that's your choice. You know, I'm not putting religion into this. That's your choice. But also, a woman and a man have to be aware that you have ways to protect yourself for a woman not to get pregnant. A man has more responsibility than a woman does, because you're the man. Basically the one in charge of making that child, because without your sperm, the woman cannot get pregnant. Right? This isn't the immaculate conception of marriage. So it is up to the man's responsibility to make sure, and I'm talking to you as a man, as a human being, as an adult, is to make sure that that man does not make that woman pregnant. And how you do that? You just plain and simple. You just don't put your sperm inside of her. You just pull out. Simple as that. But a lot of men don't do that. And then when a woman gets pregnant, then they say, you know what? What you gonna do? And the woman doesn't want to get into the woman doesn't want to get an abortion. The man's like, well, you should get an abortion because I'm married. Whatever the case may be, these are things that people need to think about. But for a state, a governor, anyone to tell you that you cannot have an abortion, no, because it's not their right to do that. You were the one that laid down in it. You were the one that laid down. You were the one that made that choice. You know, if you decide to do an abortion, that's on you. It's just a little fetus. You know, um, is that life? Don't know, because if you all religious people are saying you should be married before you have a relationship, before you have sex, so doesn't that constitute a contradiction about all these people who are having sex while not being married, but you don't want them getting an abortion? Doesn't that constitute a contradiction? You don't want them to get an abortion, but yet it's okay for them to have sex without marriage. And that's what you're saying, that you want these people to be married so that in order for them to have sex, in order for them to have a kid. And when that doesn't fit your agenda, you go around and say, you know what? If you're not gonna, if you have an abortion, if you're having sex, you can have an abortion. You know, you cannot do that. And when you live in a state like Texas that tries to be as conservative as possible, and that's not being conservative. That's just being plain stupid. We all grow up believing in certain things. I believe in certain things that my parents taught me, but I don't believe in everything because I have my own mind. I have my own perception of life. And I don't have to go by what my parents believe. It's good that they taught me some things, but I make up my own opinion. And that's the way I feel about life. I feel about a woman should have that right to decide whether she wants to get an abortion or not. That's stuff for me to decide. That's why I don't follow religion. I don't follow politicians. I don't follow a specific, because I don't want people. I'm not in the bandwagon of going with what everyone does or say. That's not me. It's never been me. Never will be me. I'm solo. I ride solo, and whatever I do it solo. So I don't want people to thinking, King Geo does this, because no, King Geo doesn't do anything that King Geo doesn't want to do. I'm not going to be a follower. Oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do that. No, that's not me. But I can say to you is that when you follow people, things happen. All right. Like you say, the ex-president before told everybody, or your rights to guns is going to be taken away. Your guns are going to be taken away. And everybody, no, 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 my gun rights. And then what did they do? They went out and they bought more guns. And what's happening now? We had 17 mass shooting in the past few days. This been a year where there's been more mass shooting than ever. Why? Because we don't take the time as a country, or as a society, or as a government, to background these people the correct way. To background, to make sure that when these people have mental issues, they don't have guns. All right. The Second Amendment was not built. The Second Amendment was not made for this. It wasn't made for you to have assault rifle. It wasn't meant for you to bear arms in the street. That wasn't meant for that. But as years passed by, that's what people took it for, and that's not it. But not remember, it's an amendment. Okay, so it can be amended. But let's just say for the sake of argument, it's not amended. It hasn't been amended. It hasn't changed. So we leave it as that, as your right to bear arms. But if you want people to bear arms, don't you want the right people to bear arms? Don't you want people who are sane, that if you don't mind going like in the Wild Wild West, that people had guns, that people can carry their guns on their side? You want sane people. You want responsible people to have guns. I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm okay with that. But give these guns to people who have shown that they can handle that. Do a background check where you have mental issues. I mean, where you can talk to, say, we can get into your medical records and find out if you have had mental issues before. Talk to your psychiatrist, to do all that.
Look, did you?
But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people believe in what the ex-president said. Oh, they're going to take your guns away from you. They're going to take your rights away from you. No, it cannot happen. So why do you allow it? Why do you allow to be brainwashed? To be brainwashed. And that's the honest to God truth. Okay, here we have. I get bombarded by this one person in my YouTube in my Facebook telling me how the elections were stolen, how the elections were stolen, how the elections were stolen, but yet there was no proof. And this was back in November, and we're what? We're in June. That's 7 months ago, and they're still talking about voter fraud. So I tell this person, if there's voter fraud, why don't you give proof? That's all it is. Proof is in the pudding, right? Show proof. Show us the proof that there was voter fraud. And I for one will tell you, you know what? There's voter fraud. We got to do something about it. Yes, there will always be some sort of tweak here and there, but not to the mass of people. What they're saying, why people are saying, why? See, this is what people don't think, and they don't do the research. And this is what gets me mad. This is what gets me angry at people. Hold on. Oh, did they? Which one? Which one? The Corral? No, but let's get it one. It's over here, past that the light over here. When you come out here, you make a right. You go straight down there, right before the other light. You're gonna see a motel. You're gonna see Sherlock House. Sherlock House. What they do? Oh, really? I took it for that. I forgot about that. I went to Liberty City the other day. Yes. But before that, we had a multi-crowd. Oh, no, I don't know. I totally forgot. Hey, you said you wanted a steakhouse. I didn't know that they so completely stick with the it's fajitas and all that. Thin steak. Oh, okay. Okay. That's good. All right. I want to go to next week. I'm going to go to a Puerto Rican restaurant that opened up in Greensboro. I'm going to do a Puerto Rican restaurant. I'm Puerto Rican, so I want to go to, but there's not one. There's not one here. Maybe down in Brazil. There's one in Raleigh. We got one over here. I figured there's one in Charlotte. Well, they're doing that to attract business. But they do take the tax away from if you live in the island, if you're from the island, it's totally different. It's from a foreign, it comes from this country, another country. Even that. It's a great place to live. One thing that kills Puerto Rico is the drug that we're else. You can stay away from drugs, you're okay. we don't, especially in the country, so if I can go out on the family or something like that, and Canada, on the side of the night, you know what? I believe it. I believe it. It's a place. It's in a mountain, right? It's an hour away from Dolce, an hour away, an hour and a half away from other doors, which is another big town. It's like an hour and a half away from San Juan. But it's in the mountains, and the summer times are great. If you come winter time, you may get 60 degrees. That's how low it is. I don't want to live that way. You don't want to live that way. You don't want to live that way. December, February. 1994. That's a way higher than that. You too. You're welcome. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, so where was I? I was talking about something else. I got distracted from people. Oh man. So yes, anyway. So your rights are not taken away from you. Like in the last election, like I was talking about, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about the elections. When they say that our right, I mean that we were defrauded, there was fraud. If there was fraud, why? See, this is the funny thing that the ex-president before decided to name he named over 100 federal judges because he thinks that if he packed the judges on his side, that whatever happens in the elections, they can be overturned because he's the man. And it backfired because every judge that they went to, they said there's no proof. You know, because they didn't take him. Not there were no, there was no proof because they went to each court, to every hearing that they went to. They went with no proof at all. They just thought that by hearsay or by just talk that they was going that the court was going to say, you know what, we have this is because you said it's fraud. Then yes, I'm going to believe you, and we're going to take this and we're going to investigate. But that didn't happen. They went to court the 20 some odd times, the 30 times that they went to court, and they got denied. The 30 some odd times they got denied because they had no proof whatsoever. And the judges told him, if you came here with proof, then I can see your case. But you come into my courtroom with no proof at all. It's just all talk. And in the last one, Giuliani said, no, he didn't go there to petition. He didn't go there to claim that there was fraud. That's exactly what you're claiming for. Be right back. Amen. The Lord that we can one day. All right, no problem. Go to my again from 7:04. So there we go. So he went to the court, Giuliani, and said that there was. He said, "Oh, I'm not coming here for fraud. So what are you coming here for?" So there is no proof. So this is why it's important that you got to start thinking for yourself. Don't let all these people tell you what's happening if you have no way of getting information. If there's fraud, show me the proof. So the title of of our conversation today is Know Your Rights. You have to know your rights of what the government can and can't do. If you get stopped by a cop, you get arrested. Know your rights. Don't speak to a cop unless you speak to a lawyer. That's plain and simple. You get arrested. What's your name? I'm gonna speak to a lawyer. If you got my ID, whatever they can, let me get your ID. But it's my name or whatever. But other than that, you don't have to speak to it. You don't have to speak to a cop. Know your rights. That's very important in this country. That's very important in today's day and age. Okay? Don't let no cop stop you. I'm not giving you legal advice. If a cop stops you, you don't have, there's certain things you, as a citizen, as a motorist, that you have a right to do. You know, they have to have probable cause as to why they stopped you. They just can't stop you for anything. They can't take you in the street and says, well, stop giving your ID. They can't do that. But yet they do it because you allow them to, because they don't even know the law. And they're supposed to know somewhat of the law. Not every nook and cranny, not every statutes. They don't have to know that, but they have to know some law of how they, why they're stopping you. They have to have probable cause as to why they're stopping you. You know, they just can't say, "Oh, show me your ID." And this is the problem, is that they can't say, "You show me your ID," and you say, "I'm not going to show you my ID." What's the probable cause? They make up a probable cause. That's not sufficient enough, and you walk away. When you walk away, they bum rush you, and then they go to court and say, "Oh, we stopped him and he walked away." Right? But you're within your rights. For me to give you my ID, you have to show me. You have to tell me why. There's about to be a probable cause. What did I do that gave you the right to stop me? So you have to know your rights, and it's important. And reading is fundamental, guys. Just pick up a law book. Every state has the law differently. Federal law is different because federal law applies to all the United States, all 50 states, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, and all those. Those are federal laws that have to go through. Okay, but know your rights. Know what police officers can and can't do. Know your rights as to what the state's trying to do with your rights. I mean, come on, think about it. Texas is telling you that you can have an abortion. That's infringing your rights as a human being. We're no better than other countries. People say, "Oh, America is the greatest country in the world," but there are hundreds of other countries that do have democracy. There are other countries that you could speak your mind. Other countries, they might not have welfare where you live on welfare. They might not have social security. But you can speak your mind. You can live freely. You can express yourself in other countries the same way that you do here. When you go into Texas and in Arizona, and people are telling you, the government's telling you that what you can and you cannot do because of religious purposes. Because now you're having these evangelicals, these Christians evangelicals, trying to decide what to do, what to tell you. So they tell these politicians what to do, and they do it because they want the money. They want the money and the power. Money and the power. That's why they're doing it. There's no place of religion. Any religious leader should not put his or her nose into politics. That's not your job. That's not our job. Our job as God's children is not to fall into the trap of men. As God's children, we're supposed to preach the word of God, Jesus' gospel. We're supposed to live the way Jesus lived. It's hard, but it's the natural thing to do. Not get caught up in this bullshit. Right, and then and like I said before, this country has been so divided. I've never seen this country, and I'm 49 years old. I've never seen this country so divided as to when Schmucko became president. He could have been president, and he would have done the right thing. Then I wouldn't have cared, because he's doing the right thing as a country. But when you have a man that's divided the country, that said that Mexico was going to pay for the war, that Mexico were rapists when he first started, and he made fun of handicapped people, and he did a lot of things. He's a misogynist. He did a lot of things that are bad. There's only a few things that he did that were good. But there was a lot of things that this man did were bad, and then he divided the country. And that is bad. Because you have white supremacy, that those are the ones, people say, "Oh, all black, all white people are not the same." All white people are not the same. But these are the white supremacist group that are getting on there. And those are the ones that we have to stop. Not the white race, it's white supremacy. That's the one that we have to stop. And this is not going to stop unless we put our foot down, because the government's really not going to do shit. For black people and brown people, you think the government's going to do something? No. The Biden administration just passed and signed an Asian anti-crime bill. I mean, Asian hate bill, an Asian hate bill, right? So it's sad that the Asian community is getting beat up because it's idiots. Because the past president said the virus was from China, so they think that every Asian person is Chinese. That's how stupid they are, and that they're responsible for the virus. So they beat these people up. So this has been happening now for a year now, and within 6 months of Biden's administration, he signs an anti-Asian hate bill. But the black community in the Bronx, but more the black community, has been suffering for 400 years. And let not even talk about 400 years because we weren't there for 400 years, right? 400 years ago, we were not there. But for the past few years, for the past 10, 20 years, black people have been abused by police officers. Black people have been abused by the law system, by the judiciary system. They've been screwed over, bent over back. They've been bent over and screwed without Vaseline. And there's nothing that has been done for the black community. Nothing. And then Biden has the audacity to come up with an Asian to sign an Asian hate bill, but not do anything for the black community, not pass a reform law for police officers. Hold that thought, guys. And not a bill passed by to reform the police officers, to defund police stations. That has not been done. And this is and Biden won Georgia and stuff like that out because of the black vote. Let's be honest, because of the black vote. So you're not giving these people what they want. You're not giving the black community what they want. What's supposed to be protecting them, right? What has the Asian? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to take anything away from the Asian community, but what gets me angry is that this only been happening for a year, and they get and the Asians get an anti-hate bill, and the black community has been beaten and brutalized for years, and nothing's been done. Nothing. And Biden ran on the premise that he was going to help out the black community. When it came to racism, when it came to equality, the only way that this is going to do one of the reasons, the only way that violence against black people are going to change is going to be one of the ones when black people decide to start arming themselves, but the legal way, taking out permits and buying guns, because no white supremacy, no white country wants to see a black man armed. A black army? Are you crazy? They don't want that. They don't want educated black people or brown people. They don't want that. Do they teach black, when do they teach black history in school? When it's only Black History Month, which is February. But do they teach our kids about black history, about black inventors, black entrepreneurs, uh, black scientists, black mathematicians? Have they taught that here? No. All you ever hear about is white white inventions, Michelangelo. You hear about fucking. What do you think that black people didn't have a painter before? Hmm? A black writer or something like that? Of course we have. But the school system does not tell you that because it's white America. So, how is a boy or a girl in growing up, going from kindergarten to elementary school, junior high school, and then to high school and college, how can that person say, I want to be a mathematician when that person doesn't even know of a good black mathematician? So that person could, for that little kid to look up to that person and say, you know what, I want to be a mathematician because this girl did it. You can't. I learned about the black astronaut, the black mathematician from NASA by watching the movie, 4 years ago. That's how I knew. I didn't know that those black women from the 1970s, they were mathematicians. That they were the one that was able to did all this configuration in math. They were the one to figure out the math for the spaceship to come back into Earth. I didn't know that because they don't teach us that. I learned it from a movie, bro. As smart as I am, I didn't even know that. But there were black presidents before. There are black vice presidents. There are black inventors. There are black entrepreneurs. There are black mathematicians. There are black scientists. There's a whole lot of things that blacks have done. But they won't tell you that in school here because it doesn't benefit them. They want you to think that everything is white. Nick Santoro, all right, the senator that just got ousted from CNN, he had the audacity to the other day say in TV say that America, when the Indians were here, that America never had American in them. That it was because of the Dutches and the English that they came to this country because of religious belief that made America the way America are. That they gave America culture because America didn't have culture before. I mean, what the fuck kind of shit is that? Of course, America had culture. Indian culture, Mexican culture, because Mexico owned part of the United States. But what happened? The English came and took everything over. Raped the Indians, killed Indians, did everything, took over the land. And they didn't do an American thing because they were following the English law. If you know anything about history, that's the way it was. And even to this day, even when they say our forefathers wrote the Constitution of the United States, our forefathers wrote this, our forefathers wrote all that, it's based on England's law. Look it up. So they wore their hats, they wore the little, their dress, not because that's the way it was, not because that was the way it was in England. Nothing is intuitive or intelligent about our Constitution of the United States of America because it all derives from England. Our laws are derived from England. Those aren't law. We may have made up some laws as time passed by, but that's where they derive from. So to say that America never had American culture, come on. Be right back. Sorry about that. So yeah, so for him, a man who's educated, to say that we didn't have American culture, that America didn't have a culture until these people, the Pilgrims, came in. That's kind of idiotic to say. It really is. I've never seen someone so educated say such a stupid thing. But that's what it is. That's what you're living here in America. That's what you have when you have white culture trying to teach you that being white's the only race there is, which is stupid. Because you know who built this country? Immigrants, Italians, Irish, blacks. Black worked the fields. And even when blacks worked the field, there was a concession, there was an agreement that when you owned that black slave, and you gave that black slave its freedom, you were supposed to give that black slave some land. That was the agreement. But that never happened. Reparation, my brothers. Yes, this land belonged to the Indians, but the Indians were raped and killed. And when the English brought in the blacks, and this land belonged to the blacks, not because whites were rich, because you were rich, you own land. No, because this land wasn't even theirs to have in the first place, if it wasn't for the rape and murder that they did to the Indian people, and to the Mexicans. Once they eliminated that, who brought those land up? Who made those land produce black people? The agreement with that was that you were black, you were a slave. Once your slave was freed, you had to give him land. That never happened. May have happened to a few. And we're still living in an age that white people hate black people. When this is not even their land. Look at the name Smith, Holiday, whatever the case may be. And you look up those names, all those names come from England. That's if you will, that's your motherland. But yet you were born and raised here and you say, oh, this is my country. That's great and dandy. But this is the country of all. Not just one race. And if you don't get that off your head, you're always going to think one-sided. This belongs to white people. No, you cannot believe in white supremacy. You got to let that go. You cannot teach your kids are not born hate, but you cannot teach your kids how to hate. You cannot teach your kids to say this is the only race because you're white, blue eyes, or white, green eyes, whatever it can be. If they're not of that color, they're not ours. You cannot grow as a white person, and something happens to you because a black person did something to you. You cannot go around and say I hate all black people because all black people are not the same. There's bad people in all races, but you can't judge a whole race because of one person. It's plain and simple. But yet it is done. So like I said, know your rights. It is important that you know your rights. It's important to know what is your God-given right. Well, your God-given right here is to obey God, do the things what God wants you to do, and to believe in God and have faith in God. Hold that thought. I'm back. So that's what it is. Know your rights. You move to places like Texas, and you move to places like Utah. Utah's very, very white. Oh my God, you can't get any whiter than that. And that's a Mormon state. And Mormons are, I don't want to talk about Mormons, but it is what it is. So we have to fight against the culture. We have to fight against other people. Now we have to fight against the government. And a lot of people, say, oh, defund Planned Parenthood. But a lot of people don't understand or don't realize that Planned Parenthood has prevented abortion. Look at the statistic. Planned Parenthood has prevented a lot of abortions because they just don't go out there and they abort. No, they are doing the jobs what teachers don't do. They're doing the jobs that parents don't do, and that is to educate these kids on sex. Okay? We as parents, well, not me, but we as parents don't educate our kids on sex because we think that's taboo or we shouldn't be talking about that. But no, But you have to sit down with your kid and talk to your kid about it, your boy or girl, about sex, what sex is all about, what's the responsibility about sex, of having sex, what happens when you don't take care of yourself, with your body, what can happen, you can get diseases, you can get pregnant. Those are the kind of things that you have to talk to your kids. Yes, later on in life they'll do their own choices, but these are the things that you got to teach them. So when you go to Planned Parenthood teaches you that and gives them the tools. Those are the tools that they need, and they prevent abortions. Look it up. That's something that I'm talking about. Something that I looked up, and I learned about what Planned Parenthood has done in the past few years. And if you look at with Planned Parenthood, their abortion rate is low because Planned Parenthood teaches these kids, listen, sex is a responsibility. Sex this, sex that. You don't have the Republicans doing that. You don't have Democrats doing that to you. What's up, Jay Morales? You don't have that. So when you don't have your parents teaching you, or you don't have school teaching you, what's teaching you? The streets. And the streets not gonna teach you the right thing between sex because guy all that guy wants to do is jump on you. You know? And there's a lot of girls out there, they just don't, a lot of girls don't think with their heads. You know, they go out there, they have sex with a guy, they get pregnant. Oh, it is what it is. I had a girl at my job one day tell me, you know, 18 years old last week, and she says, "Oh, uh, I got pregnant, and it's God's, it's God's creature, blah blah blah. This, it was meant to be. No, it's not meant to be. That's a choice you made yourself. You and the guy made yourselves. Be right back." So I'm back. The man, the myth, the legend. So yeah, so that's so if you so like I said, know your rights in this country, or you're gonna get stomped on. That's the way it is. But I'm gonna say something before I leave. If you if you love God, you love Jesus Christ, you love the Holy Spirit, don't fall into the trap of men, whether white man, black man, it doesn't matter. I'm just in plural, men. Don't fall in their trap. The devil's very astute. Don't fall into that trap, and don't put God into everything that happens in life. Things happen in life for a reason, but don't put things in like, oh God, I'm having this baby because it's God. It was meant to be. No, it's not meant to be. Or I want a Republican that fears God. No, don't put God into politics, because God has nothing to do with politics. Don't put God into abortions or the death penalty. Don't do that. 'Cause that's not what God. That's not God. That's not what God is all about. Let religion be religion, because religion is lost. Jesus didn't come to this world for religion's purposes, because there was no religion. Religion did not exist. Religion was made so that religion could control you. Okay, it's the same way that Texas wants to control you. Texas thinks they're smart. Texas say, well, if you're gonna have sex, you can't have an abortion here. You're gonna go to jail. All right. So what happens if the person goes to another state and gets an abortion there? Big deal. Dumbasses. All right. So they think this is going to prevent. This is the same way that Texas has the death penalty, because they think that in their mind, and not just Texas, people who are with the death penalty thinks that people think that if we put the death penalty in place in every state, that the crime will go down, and that's not the case. Has the crime in Texas gone down? Has the killing in Texas have gone down since they implemented the death penalty? No, it has not. So does that work? No, it does not. What I would do is I will make a big prison, isolated from everybody else, and just leave them there. Put them in isolation. You want to do everything robotically, right? You want to do everything robotically, so leave them in there robotically. The cells will be monitored electronically. They have no guards. The cells are being done remotely. Shower has been remotely. The food can get cooked remotely. Everything you could do remotely. Think about that. Instead of put them in prison for the rest of their lives, you feed them. Yeah, you feed them 3 times a day, but you do it remotely. Everything electronic. Leave them isolated. They took a person's life away. You don't need to take their life away. Just leave them isolated. Let them stay with that thought for 20, 30, 40 years in their mind. In a small, confined room. You have a shower in the room, no TV, you have a shower in the room. That's it. They want to read a Bible, one Bible, boom. Give them a Bible. Everything done electronically. And maybe people will decide, I'm not going to kill because I don't want to be in there. You think a killer is going to care about the death penalty? No, that's the last thing in their mind. And they will care less. They will care less. But anyway, so hey everybody, thank you for watching this live show. Like I said, know your rights, man, because we're living in hard times. We're living in proven times, and this is no good, man. We gotta stop the killings. We gotta stop killing one another. We gotta stop the police brutality. That has to go. And this white supremacy bullshit has to go out of this country. We cannot live in a country where white supremacy rules with QAnon and all that bullshit, stupid conspiracy shit. All right, we can't do that. That's not the way America is to be built. That's not the way any country should be built. Always, whatever you do, always give thanks to God and put God first. That's the one thing that you should do. Anyway, everybody, God bless, and don't forget to buy Shiba Inu coins. Shiba Inu coins. Let's go to the moon, guys. Let's go there. Let's make it together, man. I think it'll reach a cent before 2022 ends. Peace.